Without further ado, let's go ahead and bring on Dennis Anderson. Dennis, what's going on, man? How you doing?
What's going on, sir? I'm doing very well. Thank you for having me, man. I appreciate it.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for being here. Let's go ahead and get into it. Can you give us a 2-minute overview of who Dennis Sterling Anderson is and what makes you different?
Oh, man. 2-minute overview. Dennis Sterling Anderson here. I think gave my whole government. But that's okay. That's cool. No, but here from Omaha, Nebraska. Father, entrepreneur, man of God. That's my focus. That's my focus daily, man. So I have a real estate investing company here called Overbrook Homes. We do fixing and flipping here. We do wholesaling. We do it here in Omaha. We also do Atlanta. We do Dallas. We're looking into Miami and Tampa, especially Miami recently with what's been going on. Done some things in Detroit as well. But for the most part, Omaha, Atlanta, and Dallas are markets that we're wholesaling in.
Okay, great. And next question, Dennis. How long have you been in the real estate industry, and what did you used to do prior to real estate?
Oh man, I actually started out. I come from concert promoting. I did concerts. I did club events where I would bring in, artists and do club parties and different things like that. Around 2010, I got tired of it. Just from 2000 to 2010, I got tired. It just wasn't the same anymore. So I was at the bank. I was at First National Bank here. Then I ended up at Bank of the West. And I was in loans and underwriting and doing those types of things at the bank. But back in 2010, 2011, I started watching videos on wholesaling. The first videos I started watching was Kenny Rushing's. And he talked a lot about wholesaling, what that was. I watched some of Cody Sperber's with Clever Investors videos back then. But what I would do is that I would go out and implement, what I learned. I just didn't want to just watch videos and just sit on it. I wanted to go out and implement it. So I started doing that. Fast forward to about end of 2012, 2013, I started to do deals, but much more on a consistent level. And so I decided that I would take a step out on faith and, launch the business. So now for the past 3 years, I've been doing it full time. There's actually a lady, the last day of my full-time job, she cursed me out because we didn't send her title after she paid off her car note. So that was kind of it for me right there. And the next time I went back to that job was to pick up my stuff and get into a regular 9-to-5 setting.
All right, let me just ask another question to go along with that statement you just made. What went through your mind, and how were you feeling when you made that decision to say, hey, this is it, I'm done with corporate America, I'm going to go out on my own? What kind of feelings and emotions were you going through at that time?
Oh, man, my emotions were all over the place because it's like, you got a family. So it's like, okay, well, I'm doing deals, yes, had a little bit of money, but there's this guaranteed paycheck. So I kind of wanted to leave even before that time. It's just like, okay, I got this guaranteed employment right here. Do I want to leave that? What's my family going to say? Family thought I was crazy. It was just like, you need to keep that job. You need to do that. I'm sure a lot of us have all been through that where people think, okay, well, what are you doing? Why are you going to leave that security of a job to venture off into something you don't know what's going to happen? Fast forward 3 years, that's a little different now. And that's cool. But I had those range of emotions, which kind of, sometimes I doubted myself. Could I do it? Could I pull this off? Was this going to work? Was I going to be successful? But those were definitely some of the thoughts that ran through my mind in being able to do this.
Okay, cool. Next question, Dennis. What would you say has been your biggest challenge as being a single father in addition to being in the real estate industry? Can you kind of share some things as far as some things you've been through since you've been full-time in the business?
Mm-hmm. Really, it's when it comes fatherhood, which is extremely important to me. I love my kids, total all together. Me and my lady, she has an 8-year-old. Of course, we're getting ready to have a newborn here probably any time now.
Congratulations.
She wants to come early.
Congratulations.
So, thank you. So all together, that's 6 children for me. So fatherhood is a very, very important thing to me. If any of you know me, I talk a lot about my children. They're all successful in their own right and all have some great things going on. But I wanted to make sure that they didn't see, their father stress out. I wanted to make sure that they always knew that things were going to be okay. Even when I didn't feel it, I wanted to let them know that everything was going to be okay. And eventually it turned out that way. I wanted them to see me working hard at what I love to do and my passion, which in turn led them to follow their passion. I wanted to set a good example for that. All because I didn't know, okay, man, the money from this last deal is starting to dry up. How am I going to do this? I didn't want them to know that. I wanted to keep that flame lit and keep that fire going. So it really was just keeping them inspired, and they in turn kept me inspired, and they encouraged me a lot too, man. So we have a very, very tight family support system.
Okay, great. And the next question, Dennis, is as far as inspiration, who inspires you and why?
Oh man, I could say anybody in my family. I mean, truly, my grandfather. He's a very, very big part of our family, and he truly inspires me to go after what I want and even more. My grandfather, my grandmother, certainly my children, my mother, all respectively. But man, that man, because my father really wasn't there for me growing up, so it was my grandfather who taught me to stand on my own too. It was my grandfather who taught me to always go after what I want. And even when the road seemed tough, you still have to get up and you still have to keep going. So my grandfather was a very, very big part of everything I have going on.
Okay, great. The Sterling Report, that's something that you have that you go out here and you talk about real estate investing and stuff. Can you kind of break down exactly what the Sterling Report is? How how did you come about it, and more importantly, how were you able to connect with Grant Cardone?
Yeah, the Sterling Report is actually a real estate investing and strategy show on the Grant Cardone Network. We try and put out an episode every week, keep trying to put out content, on the network and via other social media as well. I hooked up with Grant Cardone 2 years ago. A lot of you know there's a book out that he wrote called the 10x Rule. I swear by that book. I mean, that book has done so much for me, both personal and on a business level. I started reading it a couple years ago. I always preach so much to people, the power of social media is truly amazing. I teach my students, I said, always use social media to your advantage. So I would tweet Grant, I would tweet his wife Elena, I would tweet Robert Sislow, our head of production. I mean, just consistent tweets. Following up on Facebook and making connections that way. And sometimes he would retweet stuff or send a reply back or something like that. Some of his webinars, his TV shows, I've been able to call in and do that. So then his head of production reached out to me and talked to me about doing a show. So I was all game and all good for that. So pretty much, as they say, the rest is history with that, man. So we've been rolling here for about the past month and a half, couple months. A lot of great things planned. I'm just getting back from Miami, shooting some shows down there, and got to have Grant on my show and him interview me and me interview him. He kind of put me on the spot with his Ask the Pro show that he did. We weren't even scheduled to do that, but we wanted to focus on, how to evaluate a deal, how to put a deal together, whether it's in the Miami market or the Omaha market. So that was kind of cool for us to kind of switch gears and be able to do that, man. It's truly been a great experience, man. There's definitely some great things coming from both me and Grant in the future here.
Okay, great. Let me echo what Dennis just said, guys, because it's super important what he just said. I don't know if you picked up on that or not, but he led with value. He didn't go asking Grant Cardone, hey, can I be on your show? Or hey, can you add me this? Or hey, can you? No, he was taking the information that he got from Grant and he was putting it out there. Okay, he was sharing that great content that Grant Cardone puts out there. And as a result, he got recognized for it. All right, so remember, guys, you always want to lead with value. Don't go out asking for help. Go extending help. Go extend the hand. That's super, super important. Don't forget that, okay, guys? Next question. What are some of the advantages and disadvantages of having your own show?
Oh, man. I mean, advantages are definitely, more viewers. It expands not only the show's brand, but also the Overbrook Homes brand as well. Actually, today, I just launched a multi-family company. So we'll be talking a little bit more about that, and start to make some more official announcements about it. Have a couple other key partners besides Grant. Grant Cardone is going to be one of my partners in that business as well. So that is, definitely an advantage to being able to have that. A lot of people have reached out to me since I've done the show and the different interviews, whether it's for mentoring or for partnering and different things like that. So it's a really big advantage to having that show on that network and then just having that access to who Grant has access to. So a lot of those things are great advantages. Disadvantages, I haven't really ran into any disadvantages as of yet. Well, my Audrey, I think Audrey's on here too. Audrey sent me. I was on the plane coming back, and he had sent me a screenshot of basically a hater who made a comment on the show.
Okay.
But then one of my friends that came in and corrected that person. So he's like, man, okay, you officially made it now. You got a hater. So you got to have those things like that. People have their opinions and different things like that. It happens. It is what it is. But not really any disadvantages at the moment.
Okay.
But if I run into any, of course I'll blow through them like I do everything else.
All right, and look, guys, let me share something again. When I just noticed what Dennis just said about haters and stuff, we all gonna have them. He has them, I have them, you have them, Grant Cardone has them, and everybody else out there. You're gonna have haters. You're gonna have some people that don't like you just because. It's not even necessarily about a race thing, guys. Everything is not racial motivated. You're just gonna have some people that's not gonna connect with you. They're gonna think you're running a scam. They think you're trying to do this and that. Hey, later for the haters, okay?
There you go.
But if you saw his response, it's epic too, because he laughed about it. And that's what I often refer to you guys and to do whenever people come at you and stuff. You got to brush that stuff off, guys. You got to brush it off and keep it moving, because you're going to have a certain sector of people there that's not happy with life, and they're going to try to bring you down. They're going to bring you down to their level if you allow them. All right?
Yes,
and
sir.
so, yeah, Dennis, I appreciate you sharing that with us. Next question. What are some of your goals, your 90-day goals, 6-month goals, 12-month goals? Can you kind of share a few of those of each?
Yeah, well, I mean, actually, on the business front, I've actually just redid some of my goals while I was away. I kind of felt like business is cool, it's good, but I kind of felt like I was thinking too small. So I wanted to think a little bigger. So, which was my reason for getting into multifamily and starting to wholesale, apartment buildings and commercial buildings, starting to invest in those types of properties, of course, with partners and getting residual income. My mentoring program, putting that on such a platform to where, it really creates value for my students. So, for my current and future students as well. So, those are just, some that I have. And of course, some health goals, continuing to drop weight and do that. But with business, it's really just, doing things on such a greater level. Okay, I want to, have $100,000 months, with wholesaling. I want to be able to do that. I want to be able to do that consistently. With that, that's going to take some restructuring of the business. That's going to take putting out more towards marketing. A lot of people forget we are in a marketing intensive business. You have to be marketing every single day in this business to be able to get those leads, to be able to turn those leads into deals, be able to get those deals to the closing table. You have to do that. You have to do consistent marketing. However you choose to do it, you have to make that happen every day. So it's just really, 10x, just with everything and just really taking that business to the next level. And that's what I'm going to be focused on really over this next 90 days as far as rolling everything out.
Okay. Awesome. And just to go along with that, I know you're in a few different markets, so can you kind of explain a little bit about virtual wholesaling? I know that's a buzzword that goes around, and a lot of people talk about, wanting to learn how to flip properties outside their local area. So can you kind of explain how that works and maybe even tell, 1 or 2 markets that you're currently in right now, please?
Sure, yeah. We have the Atlanta and Dallas market that we're here.
Okay.
With virtual wholesaling, you can kind of take it from 2 ways. One way is that you can get a list, like everybody does. You can get a list. You can do a direct mail campaign out there, and run it that way. It's good for you to have some boots on the ground, as we call it, to make sure that somebody is working with you to be able to make those deals happen. However you guys choose to work out that split, that's fine too. Or you can do it another way, which is basically JV virtual wholesaling, where maybe you have the buyers down there like we do in Atlanta and in Dallas, but we're just marketing other wholesalers' inventory and finding a buyer for that. So a lot of that stuff's already done for you. You're just bringing in a buyer, you're developing that partnership, between your buyer and that particular property. So that's another way that you guys can do that. But virtual in the aspect of either doing it from Omaha, but closing deals in Dallas and Atlanta, or just virtually to where everything is just completely hands off, whether it's here in Omaha or Dallas or Atlanta. I'm talking to these sellers. I love talking to my buyers. I will call each one of my buyers personally to have a conversation with them to make sure I'm updating their criteria and what they're looking for. I don't have anybody else talk to my buyers. I'm the only one. I know here in Omaha, there's over, I think, 225 active buyers on my list. I call every single one of them. I make time throughout the week, over a 2-week period, and I call every single one of those buyers. So that's the only part that's really not virtual to me. But other than that, man, just being able to, close those deals from your home market in another market. But the key thing with that is the relationships that you build in that other market, and of course systems too.
Okay, all right. So you said something again that's very, very key and very important about your buyers. And you said within a 2-week time span, 2 or 3 week time span, you would pick up the phone and you'll call and speak with each one of them and update their information. So you mean tell me when you get a property, you just don't blast it out to your buyers list and be like, hey, first come, first serve, or you don't treat your buyers like that, huh?
No, we do. We'll send that out.
Okay.
We use MailChimp. We'll send that out. But I like having a personal relationship with my buyers. Mm-hmm. Even if we get to a point, where we don't have any properties to send out, I'm still making sure that I do send them content.
Okay.
Whether it's about investing or just something going on. That's how a lot of them found out about my show. I would send them stuff on that. I have one going out tomorrow as far as that along with a property. So, I'd like to hop on the phone with them, but yeah, we do send those emails out. Now, some properties we know we can just make a couple phone calls because somebody was already looking for a type of property like that. So some properties don't even make it on the website. We just know, we can call a particular buyer and they're ready. So whether it's me or whether it's one of our VAs going through that database and making that phone call to follow up with a buyer, then we can do that. But we take it from both fronts, man. But I love hopping on that phone. I love talking with them because that's where it's at. With buyers list, I always get this question too. Well, do I need a big buyers list? Man, if you have a good, solid 4 to 5 buyers that are buying from you consistently, it's cool to have more buyers. That's great. You got a lot to pick from. But if you got a good 4 to 5 that are buying from you consistently, then you'll turn properties a lot more.
Okay.
And that's really all you need. So don't focus on having the largest buyers list. Focus on getting buyers what they need and turning those properties definitely.
Okay, good. And, he emphasized, though, and I want to reiterate what he's saying about having a relationship with those buyers. That's key because a lot of times people treat buyers like, just somebody else and, hey, just blast out a list and you have absolutely no relationship with these buyers. Okay, a couple more questions, Dennis, then we're going to open it up for Q&A. If you had to do it all over again, what would you do differently and why?
More marketing. Just marketing every now and then and when you feel like it, or I'm just going to do one post today, or I'm just going to. No, you have to really gut it hard with marketing. And I always, whenever I get that, I will say that it has to be more marketing and put it out there. I think if I would have did that, I'd be a little bit further than where I am now deal-wise, because as you start to do more marketing, that engine just starts to crank up more. That deal flow begins to crank up more. And you have a lot of things in the pipeline, a lot of things going on to where you're able to do that. So marketing, and then just starting out, of course, with the right systems. We have great systems now that help us run our business, and that's great, man. But definitely, it really goes back to marketing. I can't preach that enough. Okay.
Yep. You got to market. Always be marketing, because that's what we are in this industry. We're marketers. A lot of times we refer to ourselves as an investor, but really and truly, we're marketers. Okay. So know how to market. So it's a great nugget. And the last question before we open it up: what are 3 things you would recommend? You would tell newbie investors just getting started in the business. What are 3 things, 3 nuggets they need to know prior to getting started?
I would definitely say know your market, know where the hot areas are, whether it's hopping, online or developing a relationship with good realtors or brokers. Find out where those hot areas are in your market and understand that market. Learn how to properly evaluate properties. Package the deal. When you have a property under contract, sell that deal to that buyer. Let them know, what that ARV is. Determine that ARV, what those repair costs are. Let them know what that property is going to sell for. But everything about that property, take good pictures of that property so when you do present and package that deal, they can ask minimal questions and be able to make a be able to make a decision, right there on the spot without too many phone calls in between that. Third, mindset. Mindset is truly everything in this business. You have to get up and believe every single day that you can do this business and that you will do this business. So always have a right mindset about it. Get you a mentor if you need to. Hop on sites like Bigger Pockets, REI Club, and just really immerse yourself in the business. But don't get it too much that you have that what we call analysis of paralysis. No, get out there and do the business, but at the same time, network. Have a positive mindset. Write your goals down twice a day and say those goals. Do positive affirmations. Really immerse yourself in the business, and definitely success is sure to come.
Okay, great pieces of nugget, guys. I hope you got that. So at this point, we're going to go ahead and open it up for Q&A. So let's go ahead and get our questions. Start asking your questions. I'm going to turn it back on to Dennis, and we're going to go ahead and just ask him these questions. So guys, go ahead and start asking him his questions. Now, Dennis, if you have your phone, you can read some of them too. There's a little slight delay on this end, but go ahead, guys, and ask your questions, and we'll try to get them answered. Don't be shy. I do have a question. Can you kind of tell us how your team is made up? Okay, so somebody said open up a new LLC with the IRS, but not the state yet. Can I still buy with that EIN number?
Just open up an LLC. Can you post that? Post it again.
Yeah, because that's not quite clear.
Yeah.
What hurdles did you face as a beginner?
What hurdles I faced as a beginner? Again, that whole mindset thing, because I was dealing with leaving a 9-to-5 job, and other people telling me, well, that's not going to work, and you can't do that, and you have kids, and different things like that. So that was a hurdle, and just being, kind of scared to spend money on marketing and different things like that. So I said, marketing is a very big thing, but I overcome those things. With each year, I just scaled. I scaled up and built the business. I've had my hard days, I've had my tough days in the business, but you just continue to push through those for sure. Okay,
somebody has got two questions. How often do you market? And if you're not a systems-oriented person, would you bring on a partner to handle that side of it?
We try to, when we do like direct mail, I'll kind of start there. Direct mail, we're usually doing 30, 60, 90, even sometimes 120-day mail outs. Sometimes that could be 1,000, that could be a 1,500, piece mail out that we send out, just depending on what we're looking to accomplish and what we're doing. So it can be that. If we're doing online posts, we're trying to post at least 3 to 4 times a day, spread throughout the day, using social media to post. Doing driving for dollars. I still like, when I have the time, I love hopping out and doing driving for dollars. That's still such a great way to get deals, and one of the best ways to be able to get deals. So those are some of the ways that we do that. Okay,
cool. Are there any more questions? I think I see one coming through. What daily activities within your business help you produce the highest ROI? And what's the best tools to use to evaluate the ROI and get a great deal?
Okay. My daily thing is just to focus on revenue generating activities. Everything else I like to try and give to our VA to be able to do. So I have my my morning rituals and different things that I do for the business, which is to keep that positive mindset. Do some motivational reading, listen to podcasts in the morning, go to the gym, and then I'm pretty much getting my day started, and just focusing on seeing how the marketing funnels are going, seeing what leads that we're working. Do we need to increase in a certain area? So I'm really looking at those things throughout the day and what we can do to really increase that output there. As far as tools and systems, we actually use RealFlow. I love RealFlow, to help us analyze properties, keeps all our properties in there. We send out some direct mail from there as well. Not as much as we do like GoBigPrinting.com. That's the other one that we use. But RealFlow, you kind of have to really test them out on the direct mail front. But we do use them for, of course, our back end. We use Lead Propeller. Lead Propeller is a great site if you just want to have buyer and seller websites. But everything is actually getting ready to convert over to RealFlow.
Uh-oh. All right, so we lost him. I figured that was going to happen sometime sooner than later. So hopefully he'll go ahead and call me back. But if not, we'll go ahead and get ready to wrap this up. Okay, here he is. All right, here you go. How about I just tell him you lost me. All right. I do want to ask you too about Go Big Printing. I use Click to Mail. Can you kind of break down what Go Big Printing is? I've heard about them.
Yeah, Go Big Printing, they're, well, so they're kind of like clip to mail, but they're basically, with yellow letters and postcards, the copy's already written for you. You're just uploading your list into there. And, of course, they're sending that out for you. Of course, they have the option of just, mailing them all out to you, and you can stamp them and put address labels on them and do that, man. But they've been working pretty well for us. They have some amazing postcards. Them and I think there's another one, Yellow Letters Complete. I haven't used them, but I've heard great things about them. So those two companies are definitely some ones to check out to certainly get that direct mail game up.
Somebody asked about when the market crashes, I guess about generating revenue, or how do you make money when the market crashes? Well, I guess when you're in between deals, I think that's what he's asking.
Yeah, I mean, in any market, there's opportunities in any market. You may have to work a little harder to find those. But again, just being consistent with your marketing, I mean, you can really find opportunities in an up and down market. I mean, whether you have to do wholesaling or if you have to offer lease options or anything like that, man, there's always an opportunity that can be made, from a deal. Now, do we have to walk away from some deals? Yeah, we do. I mean, it's happened. But if you have some other strategies behind you, you can certainly make those happen as well. But there's opportunities. Whether it's an up and down market, you may have to just work a little hard for it, but they're definitely out there.
Okay, how'd you get your first deal? Postcard or bandit sign?
Craigslist.
Craigslist.
My first deal was from Craigslist. I put an ad out there. The seller called me, got it under contract. I had to go back after 30 days and renew that contract. So some of you out there, I mean, you've experienced that where you didn't sell that property in time, then you have to go back and renew that contract. Now we're to the point where we just try and put stuff under contract for, maybe not even a week or two at that. If we know, especially if we have a guaranteed buyer, enough to clear up any title things and whatnot. And we're trying to get that earnest money deposit and then close within the next week. Cash buyers should not need 30 days to close. That I got really tired of. So cash buyers should be able to close within a week or two. If a cash buyer tells you, okay, I've got cash, I need 30 days to close, I actually see a big problem with that. So try and get those cash buyers to be able to close as soon as possible.
Hey, I love that. I got the camera on myself. I love him saying that as far as these cash buyers, because I preach about that all the time. It doesn't take 21 days and 30 days for a cash buyer to have his or her money. There are exceptions, of course. Sometimes they may be getting private money and hard money, but that's the exception. That's not the rule. So can you kind of talk about, like, when your contract is concerned, how many days do you normally lock a property up under contract?
Typically 2 weeks, 14 days is typically what I'm looking to do. I mean, if we have to go back and renegotiate, we'll do that at that time. I'm very upfront with my sellers. I'll let them know it's either going to be me or one of my partners that's going to be purchasing the property. So anytime that there's another person other than me that's coming through that property, that seller is very well aware of what's happening in that deal. So always be upfront with your sellers about what's going on. I always have that question, well, should I tell them that I'm the buyer? Be upfront with them. Now if you're in a position where, okay, you can purchase that property, then you can say that it's either going to be me or one of my partners, but if you have to bring your partners through, be upfront with the seller and tell them that. They will appreciate and respect you so much more coming into that deal and throughout the deal so much more for that.
Okay, great. Are there any more questions before we wrap it up? We're coming up on 30 minutes now, so we can probably take about 1 or 2 more questions, and then we can go from there. All right, that's that question about the LLC. With the IRS, but not the state.
Just opened a new LLC with the IRS, but not the state yet. Can I still buy? Can you still get by with that EIN? I mean, you should be. If you got your EIN from like IRS.gov, that's the same one that you would use for. That's what you would use for your state. When you go to file for state, of course, I ask you, do you have an EIN number? That's what would use. For that. So, you should be, if I understand that question correctly, you should be fine.
And somebody asked, are you a licensed realtor? Do you have your license?
I do not. It's something that I have thought about. I've took the required classes. I have all that done. The only thing I need to go do is sit for state. The only benefit I truly see at this point is just MLS access, but I have an awesome realtor who takes care of that for me. But then I also thought, too, and this is kind of where you bounce back and forth. If you can't do a wholesale deal, then you can list that deal. So you're kind of working it from both, from both areas. So I've been kind of back and forth about it. Not too sure if I'll pursue that or not, but it's definitely still a thought.
All right. Next question: how do you assess repairs?
how do I assess repairs? A couple ways. I have real flow. So whenever I go into a property, I'm taking the iPad and I'm going through and I'm checking off everything that needs to be repaired. With that actually ties into Home Depot SKU system. So you're kind of able to see real-time cost as far as what needs to be repaired in that system. I also have, like, if I don't have that, I have like a repair checklist that I go through with some cost on it. So I'll estimate repairs that way, both inside and outside of the property, as far as when I need to do that.
Okay. All right. And I think if we can go ahead and wrap it up, guys, because we're, like I said, let me see, how do you get your seller's contracts with your okay, so somebody asked, how do you get seller's contracts with no mentor?
You can go to sites like biggerpockets.com. I know they have some. reiclub.com. rocketlawyer.com, has some contracts that you can use as well. Even if you do like a Google search for like purchase and sales contracts or option agreements, the 3 agreements I usually use. I'll use the option agreement I use is a little bit more ended and case apprehensive. Allows them to find their own seller, but I'm using it as the last resort now. And then of course the assignment agreement between my buyer and I. So those are the 3 that I'm using, but you can find those on that site.
Okay. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up because like Skype is getting a little choppy on that end. But look, guys, we really, really appreciate you for joining. Thank you for the questions. Sorry if we're not able to answer your question. We're going to go ahead and wrap this up. Dennis, any last things you want to say before we sign off?
I would definitely say, if you're on the fence, get out there and make it happen and do it. If you want to see success in this business, you have to get up every single day and get out there, crack the whip, and make it happen. Things don't go right in the business, it's going to happen. That is inevitable. But you have to get out there. You have to continue to pursue your goals, pursue your dreams, and just get out there and really make it happen. Network with great people. Believe that you can do this business and get out there and make it happen every single day. So if I can leave you with that piece of information, then this has truly been great. So I can't preach it enough, man. Just get out there and make it happen every single day.
Okay, well, there you have it. From Dennis Sterling Anderson of the Sterling Report. Make sure you guys look him up on Facebook, and also look him up on Periscope, Sterling Vision. Guys, make sure you follow him. He's a wealth of knowledge. This is your boy Ray Mabry about to sign off. We appreciate you, and we'll see you tomorrow. Until next time, peace.
Take care.